Hello everyone and welcome back to the Witch of Bees and Bones. I thought I would do a fun VR today. I've seen it since, but I saw the video that Kaluna V did about a week and a half ago, I would say. And it's called Invitations of a Tarot Practice, VR to Mixtress Ray. And I hadn't seen the original, but I saw Kaluna's and really liked it. So then I checked out the original poster, the original video. It's the end of my day, and I'm a little scattered, so forgive me. And I just thought it was a really fun prompt. I really like the questions. It's nice to hear other people's answers, and so I figured that I would sit down and do it. That's what we're going to do today. And so I'm going to list the original video and Kaluna's video and channel down below, and then I'll also post the question prompts. So Elijah is at my feet, so if you hear her, congratulations. Now she's staring up at me. First, apparently this is, now that I'm filming in here, you know, she wants to be with the mama. So, also, Elijah's a Manx. It's hard to tell, but she doesn't have a tail. They're born tailless. I would never dock an animal's tail. But if any of you have noticed that when she's walking by, I just wanted to mention that. Yes, I love you. You're the tiniest. Okay, let's get started. And forgive me, I'm going to be looking at my phone because I have the prompts screenshotted just so I get them correct. And I know I did that. There it is. Yes, baby. Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay. So the first question is, what are your favorite deck housings? Box, bag, other types of box, etc. And how do you store your decks? So I am pretty consistently, I keep them in their own boxes, especially if I like the box. So in my, trying to think, there's a couple, like my messenger cards, or my animal medicine cards. I store those in a box that looks like a book because the box they came in is long since gone because I've had it for so long. And I just feel like the quality of decks and their boxes are improving. So I tend to like to keep them in their boxes. It keeps the cards safe. If the box is in good shape, I do that. But I will say, and I mentioned this a few weeks ago on the channel, that I received these cards, and I really, really dislike the boxes. It doesn't say anything. It doesn't do anything. It's super shiny. And so I am going to find another home for these, or a couple people had commented and said, you know, to decorate the box or decoupage the box or something like that. And I love that idea because right now it's kind of just there and kind of unsatisfactory. I have a couple bags for my decks. I don't tend to use them. I don't know. I like the tidiness of a box. So unless the box is destroyed or I don't like it, that's what I tend to do. And the next question is, how do you store your decks? So I keep them in the boxes, but I also so I'm trying to. There's decks here. There's decks in this apothecary cabinet right here. And then I have my decks on my altar. Those are the decks that I use, that are my daily decks. I like to keep them present. And then I do have the Brady Tarot back there as well, because I'm still learning it, and I really like her on that particular altar. The second question is, how important are card backings to you? What type of card backings do you prefer? it is a drastic understatement to say that backings are very important to me. I don't want to say that it's a deal breaker. If the deck is dynamite and the backing isn't stellar, okay, but I really enjoy a nice card backing. It doesn't have to be fancy, it doesn't have to be intricate, but I want there to be some attention to detail on it. So for example, you've all heard me talk about this deck, and she's on a hiatus right now. We're taking a little break from each other, but I did want to bring her out because this is the perfect example, or one of the perfect examples. So, hard to tell. Let me see if I can... So this is the Obsidian Oracle. There you go. And this backing is dynamite. It's simple. It's beautiful. I will say, I enjoy a directional backing. Depending on the deck, I don't always read cards in the contrary position. And so, and being wired the way I am, when cards get messed up and they're contrary or they get shuffled or something, and I pull it and it's in the wrong direction, it really irks me. So I like cards that have a direction to them on the backing. Again, Woodland Warden's one of my favorite decks. It does not do that. It's just a regular, beautiful backing. So I would say it's fairly important to me. Again, and I hate, I'm not trying to shit on this deck, because I'm actually, like, I don't dislike the deck, but I like this because it's directional, but I guess it ties in with the deck. I don't know. I should probably stop talking about this, because I just need to spend some more time with those and make an actual decision about it. I really waffle with those decks. So I would say that that's the gist. And what type of card backing do you prefer? Like I said, I like something that's directional, but I also... I do like simple. I don't really want ornate on the back, because I don't want it competing for the attention, so to speak. But I do like the thought and detail that goes into it. Number 3, do you like edging your decks, and what kind of edgings do you like? I've never edged a deck. I haven't. I've never been called to. When I see them, I think they're really beautiful, so that's not to say I never will. I obviously know lots of people who edge their decks, and you know, the matte black is beautiful and the red is beautiful. But a lot of my decks, or not a lot, quite a few of my decks are already edged. And I think that decks moving forward, the artists and creators are kind of paying attention to that detail. So there's less reason for me to do that. That isn't something that I've ever been called to do at this point, but that's not to say that I wouldn't do it. Yeah, it's interesting to think about that, because when I see folks, you know, friends or people in the community, and I see their edge decks, I'm like, oh wow, that's really, really beautiful. But it's not something I've ever been called to do myself. At this point, that may change. I may get a deck at some point and just be called to do that. And I'm grateful that I know how to do it, because I've watched a lot of very cool content. What kind of tactile experience do you want to have with a tarot deck, cardstock, what method of shuffling you prefer, and finish on the cards, etc.? So quality cardstock is extremely important to me. I don't like it when cards are flimsy. I don't like it when cards are too shiny, or what I call slippy, when you're trying to shuffle them and they're just kind of falling all over the place. I really like a matte to satin finish. Hi, baby. I'm a very tactile person. I'm a very creative person, and it has to feel good to me, or I don't want to interact with it, which I think might be another issue with these shadow decks is the cardstock just isn't great. They're kind of shiny and they're kind of slippy, and I don't love that. And I've had that experience with other super shiny cards. Sorry, just checking on Elijah. I like a heavy cardstock. I tend to both traditional shuffle, and then I clear decks in a different way, and then I overhand shuffle. Those are my kind of preferred methods. What am I missing here? Finish on the cards. Yeah, it's like the matte finish is preferred. I'll go up to a satin past that. Once they get glossy or shiny, I don't even like how they feel, so I don't like interacting with them. It's a tactile preference for me. So I really like the matte and the satin. I have a couple decks that are like very flat. I kind of like that too, but I have realized that they may not hold up as well. But again, not a deal breaker, especially if it's a deck I really, really love. What other factors make a deck feel inviting for you to use? Internal consistency, colors, the type of conversation you have with the deck, and its energy. I've come to realize, and I don't know why it took me so long to get to where I am at this point, but I pretty consistently only like working with decks that are nature-based or animal-based, flora, fauna, decks with humans in them. I don't really have an affinity for. I don't care for them. I don't quite get them, which I think is the reason that tarot never clicked with me before. Every deck I ever tried, and believe me, I tried probably dozens, if I'm being honest, they just didn't click for me. I didn't get it. It didn't make sense. It didn't stick in my head. And it's since the Brady Tarot came into my life, and thank you again to the person that sent it to me. It was a wonderful follower, and I'm deeply appreciative because I love this deck so dearly, and it's animal based, and I look at it and I get it, and I don't just get it in the deck. I get the meaning of the card. I get what it works with. I get what it's around. I get the progression of things. Like, it just finally makes sense to me, and I'm really, really grateful. So if I were to use another deck that maybe was less nature-based, I would still know the meaning of the cards, but I really I find myself drawn to and connected to and understanding the nature-based animal, flora, fauna decks really, really well. The human-based decks just, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't really even have many left, except for my beloved Weaver's Oracle. But that's a lot about Divine Feminine and Crone, and they always have animal interactions in the card that make sense to me, so that is a nice meeting place. So in the future, I might look at decks if there's a place where the humans and nature interact. That might click for me. But I'm really pleased that I understand that, so I'm not wasting resources and money and time on procuring decks that aren't going to connect, that I'm not going to connect with, because I've done that for a very long time, because like aesthetically I might like something, and again I'm part crow. I love shiny pretty things, and so I'll see something, I'll be like, oh my god, that's gorgeous, and then I get it and it does nothing. We make no connection. It just, and so then it's I pass it on to somebody else. I don't obviously toss it away, but it's when you have your hopes up on a deck, and you really want to connect with it and you don't, or it can't, or it just doesn't happen, it's not a stellar feeling. So yes, that's that. Colors, I prefer, I know you're all going to be wildly shocked by this. I hope you're sitting down. I like darker decks. I don't, again, a Faceted Garden is kind of a lighter colored deck, but it's not, it has jewel tones, and it's really a beautiful deck. But yeah, most of the decks I like have a darker theme and color theme and color story to them that I really enjoy. Like, you can see my home, it's all dark colors, dark green. My apothecary cabinet is black and stained. My furniture is like earth tones and blacks and browns, and you know, it's so that's not unusual for me. Conversation that you have with the deck and its energy. I really like this question, this portion of the question. I think that every conversation is different depending on the deck, depending on the inquiry, depending on the day. I kind of feel like oftentimes we already know the answer to something, but we want to flesh it out, and that's a great use for decks. And I think that my conversation with decks, and I know that I talked about this a few videos ago, that the Obsidian Oracle and I are on a break because we stopped communicating. I shuffled it, I cleared it, and all of that, but we just weren't connecting. And so, as I said in that video, I think it's important to take a break. I've also, and this is interesting to me, and this is something I'm sort of practicing, but working with a new deck or set of decks each month, so the kind of relationship stays new and you get new insights and all of that. I really like that idea. I've sort of been doing it. I got a deck that I talked about that Jess Reads Cards sent me for my birthday that I'm loving, and the Woodland Wardens. There may be a day that we take a break from each other, but that deck and I are like, it's such a beautiful conversation, and I'm the kind of person that I tend to, there are days that I miss pulling cards, but I tend to be a daily, it's part of my daily practice. And I don't ask questions that I don't want answers to. That was one of the things, one of the many, many, many things my dad taught me. Never ask a question that you don't want to hear the answer to. And so I don't tend to ask questions about outside stuff. I tend to ask questions about inside stuff. And of course, sometimes things are going on and I want some clarity on how to deal with something, but it's how I need to deal with it. Not like, like relationships or something like that. I tend not to do that too much. I focus more on internal stuff with my cards, and that's kind of the conversation. So because nature is so important to me, and I actually got outside today, walked 4 miles this morning, and it's done a great deal for my mental health. But because I'm so connected to nature and animals, it's easier for me to get to where I need to go with the decks that I use and the conversation I have. And by not asking questions I'm not prepared to have answered, or waiting to pull cards until I'm ready to hear the answer, or using the right deck. And I don't mean the right deck to hear what I want to hear. I mean the deck that's going to give me the answer I need. There's a lot of time times that I have pulled cards and they've kicked my ass, and I look at the card and I was like, fuck. But it was right, and it was right on, and it gave me the perspective I needed. And I'm a huge proponent of looking at things from different perspectives and views, so you can kind of get a more holistic picture instead of this very selfish perspective of just how things look to me. I like to see how things look to, like, for the other, like if there's a other person involved or if there's a dynamic. I like to see all perspectives, so then I can choose accordingly and behave well and not go at it from a combative perspective. So that's the kind of conversations that I have with my cards, and I allow them to have back with me, is this transparency and honesty, but also the willingness to hear what they have to say to me. What did I miss? Okay. The sixth and final question is, what does your tarot reading practice look like, daily rituals, and how do you use your decks? So again, I do Oracle primarily, but I'm learning Tarot with the Brady Tarot. Again, I love it so much. It's such a beautiful deck. So my practice or my daily rituals, which I've already talked about, but I'll just skim over them in case somebody's new to the channel. I've had a fair amount of new followers, which I appreciate so much. Thank you. I will light my candle. I will light my Palo Santo. I will, whatever's going on for me that day or what's been on my mind. And I'll sit down with my cards and I'll clear them and I'll shuffle them and I'll have an intention or a question or a query, and I will pose it, and then I pull one card from one deck and then I pull a clarifier from the other deck. I tend to use two decks. I'm not, I think I've mentioned this, I am not reading with the Brady Tarot at this point. I'm just learning it. I'm not pulling cards out of her quite yet. But I'm getting to that point very soon because I'm making my way, like learning each card and sitting with it. So I really, so it just kind of like sticks. And so far it's gone really well. But for now it's I don't want to say just, but it's Oracle, not Tarot. And then I will, if it's a new deck, I tend to spend a lot of time looking at the card, because I read cards typically intuitively, but I also like to see what the creator or the person or the creator of the guidebook has to say, and I'll journal about that. And so I typically will write what my impression is, what I'm getting from the card, especially if it's cards that I've pulled before. And then I will write in my journal what the guidebook had to say, and then I tend to journal about that and like directions of things and how to look at things from perspectives and kind of like maybe what my next step or move is. So that's what my practice looks like. And as I said, the decks I'm using, I do keep on my this altar. I have altars all over my house, but this one is the one that holds the decks that I'm using because it's in my primary living space. Trying to think. Oh, I also, so one of my decks, and I choose different decks, or different stones for different decks, but I tend to, after I clear the deck, I will leave the card out that I pulled that day and display it, and then I will put a stone. So let's see here. The Maiden Oracle, I have a piece of rainbow, I'm sorry, sheen obsidian on, and then my Woodland Wardens has a beautiful chunk of sardonyx on it. I like the grounding and sort of the clearing of that. I also like the aesthetic of it, not gonna lie. Again, not a minimalist. So I do that, and I just like leave it there, but leave the cards out for the day. And then the next day I will shuffle them in, clear the deck and all of that. So that is what my ritual looks like. Did I miss anything? Nope, I think that's it. Y'all have been so lovely, and I'm not going to take a bunch of time because this is already a little bit on the longer side, but I appreciate all of you so much. And I appreciate the comments, and I appreciate the subscribers, and granted, it took me a very long time to start this channel, and, you know, I didn't know what the hell was going to happen with it, honestly, because, you know, the internet, the interwebs are wild out there, so I wasn't sure what to expect. But I was really pleased, excuse me, I'm kind of blown away by how lovely everyone has been. I know there's a lot of, you know, there tends to be a lot of keyboard warriors, and I've been very lucky thus far. I know something's going to happen. I'm going to piss somebody off, or somebody's not going to like me, or whatever. That's fine. Go somewhere else. There's a zillion different channels. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I don't expect to be. I don't watch every single piece of content. I watch the content that speaks to me. So that's that. But I appreciate all of you, and just wanted to say that I'm finding myself with a great deal of gratitude. I try to be very grateful in my life, and I am very grateful. But my gratitude lately has just, and it's not about things. I've been very lucky. People have reached out for my birthday, and they sent me cards, and they sent me gifts, and I love that, and I deeply appreciate it. But it's not about the stuff and the things. It's about how thoughtful people have been, and the fact that a lot of you, with my most recent post from New York and everything, you know, reached out to wish me a happy birthday. It's wild to me, that there are people who live all over the world who I've never met in person who wish me a happy birthday. It's wild to me. And I'm really grateful. I am at a point in my life where I'm very intentional with the things I do. The people in my life and around my life, are really special, and I feel like I'm in a really, really clear place. And I think that I know that this channel has helped with that, and you all have as well, and so thank you. I will stop gushing, but it's important to me to know that I appreciate all of you a great deal. I know we're all going through it. It's been a long winter for a lot of us. I know there's folks dealing with mental health issues and all of that, and the fact that people take time out of their day to watch my content is really wild and deeply appreciative. And I'm not being self-deprecating that I don't have anything to say or share. I know I do, or I wouldn't be here, but it's still, people have a lot of ways to spend their time. So thank you. So please go find something beautiful, a piece of music, a piece of art, a loved one, a little furry friend or a scaly friend, or whatever, and just really take in whatever beauty you can. It really does help, and I will be back with you very soon, and thank you so much. Bye.